Tonight with a word you all need to get real familiar with: tariffs. Now just hold a beat before you change the channel. Let me explain what they are and what this will mean for you and your pocketbook. Okay. Tariffs are taxes imposed on foreign-made goods as a way to discourage consumption of those goods and to encourage American-made versions instead. The tariff or tax is paid by the U.S. business that does the importing at the time the foreign goods come into the country, basically a border tax. And much of the time, the extra cost gets passed on to the consumer. So just to make a simple sort of mathy example, okay? Say a T-shirt company used to import shirts from China for $20 and mark them up to $30 in order to sell them to consumers, to you. And a $5 tariff is slapped on. The T-shirt company will mark the finished shirt up from $30 to $35 to cover the cost of the tariff. So suddenly T-shirts cost more at Macy's or Walmart or whatever. Hope that makes sense. Well, last night, Donald Trump posted on his social media thing that he would be signing an executive order as soon as he sits down in the Oval Office on January 20th at noon that would issue a flat 25% tariff on any items imported from from Canada, China, and Mexico. From Canada and Mexico, just Canada and Mexico. And a 10% Trump tax on goods imported from China. All three of those countries are our largest trading partners, and we ship a lot of stuff back and forth. So imagine what's going to happen when you target the countries you do the most business with. Trump's tariff tax, his tariff tax plans are no secret. He talked about them all throughout the campaign, but apparently people weren't paying much attention. After the election, people started to ask questions about his plans. Google searches for the term tariff spiked more than 1,600%. Searches for who pays the tariffs rose 350%. Nothing like doing your homework after the test, am I right? But okay, now we get to see who pays for tariffs. Let me give you the big picture. According to some estimates, the average American household is going to spend an additional $2,600 or more a year. I thought America didn't like the high cost of eggs. $2,600 in extra cost for stuff that you buy is like a whole lot of expensive eggs. But enough about that. Let's get down to brass tacks. Mexico is America's #1 trading partner. That means we sell each other lots and lots of stuff. They sell us cars, components for cars, crude oil, beer, lots of fruits and vegetables, including the famous avocados from Mexico. With 25% tariffs, experts estimate that we can expect to pay up to 75 cents more for a gallon of gas. We could pay at least 25 cents more for avocados, and we could pay 33 cents more for a Corona or Pacifico cerveza. Now, let's move to our friendly neighbors to the north, who probably won't be so friendly if those tariffs go into effect. We also buy lots of oil and stuff like lumber and plastics from Canada. So again, you're going to pay more at the pump, and you're going to pay more to build your house that needs lumber. And finally, let's talk about China. They sell us all the stuff that we rely on for our everyday lives, like your smartphone, your computer, the toys your kids play with, and the cheap clothes you buy on Amazon. This time next year, you're probably going to pay a lot more for your Christmas gifts if those tariffs are still in place. Now, a big part of Trump's selling point on the tariffs was that these inflationary tactics would force American companies to make more stuff here in America. But that's kind of a pipe dream. Take, for example, the CEO of Stanley Black & Decker, the tool company. He told shareholders that he had explored shifting production from China, but it was unlikely because it's not cost-effective, likely due to the high cost of American labor and high real estate prices to build a manufacturing plant and other stuff like that. And how are we going to lower costs for fruits and vegetables and construction prices when much of the labor in those industries will have been forcefully locked up and deported? You know what economists say will probably happen? The policy would probably cause prices to nearly double. So, welcome to MAGA consequences, America. Joining me now is Robert Reich, who served as labor secretary in the Clinton administration, and Ron Insana, CNBC senior analyst and CEO of iFi.ai. Robert Reich, let me ask you first. You will be my professor in this and ask, did I get anything wrong in the explanation of tariffs? And if so, please correct me.
I don't think you did, Joy, except that $2,600 per family estimate was made in August before we knew how large many of the tariffs were going to be. I think the actual per family estimated cost is probably closer now to $4,000.
So let's go into, I just want to put this up again, because I think in theory, I can understand how people who don't pay attention, who are not you or Ron and Sana and experts, and who just don't pay attention to these kinds of economic ideas, might think, well, that sounds good. We want to build more in America. But I want to put back up once again who our biggest trading partners are, meaning who do we import and export the most stuff from? Mexico, China, Canada, Germany, Japan, and then who we export to: Canada, Mexico, China, Netherlands, and Japan. If we slap a massive tariff, Robert, on those countries, what will they do? What might they do in return?
Well, they will do exactly what countries did in 1930. 1930 was the last time we had a big across-the-board tariff increase, and that was from Herbert Hoover. You remember President Herbert Hoover, and also Congressman Smoot and Hawley. That resulted in retaliatory tariffs by other countries retaliating against us for putting tariffs against their goods. And those retaliations, those tariff wars, ended up worsening the Great Depression.